Hey there, Stanford fans. This is RJ Abeytia alongside Jim Rutter here for yet another edition of the Stanford Bootleg post-game report. Stanford comes away a 55-17 victory today. They were able to squeak one out here against the very depleted, we should say, Arizona Wildcats, but nevertheless, a banner day for a Stanford offense that now has legitimate juggernaut status, wouldn't you say?
Well, listen, it's not every day that we get a chance to have a comfortable ride against a Pac-12 opponent. It's not every day, and as you say, Arizona depleted. They were definitely more than one man down, and it showed on the field. Stanford just had it going on all fronts, executing the offense beautifully. Defense showed a little bend once in a while, but I mean, This is a prolific offense. They run it. These bubble screens will drive us crazy, and that tends to lull you to sleep a little bit. But no, what didn't we have going tonight? I mean, the biggest disappointment of the night might have been just getting Keller Chris' run called back. That was about the only disappointment I saw all night.
Yeah, I mean, we can nitpick and we can talk about the -5 punt return yards that Stanford had, but
yeah, you had to bench that 5.
Yeah, that Christian McCaffrey obviously is killing Stanford right now. I mean, yes, he averaged 9.2 yards per rush, but I mean, punt returning. What have you done for me lately?
No, and he did the 17 for 156 was really only accomplished in 3 quarters. So,
yeah, no, I mean he wasn't a 4-quarter player tonight. Let's be honest.
No, and it's really, I think at some point we're going to have to start revisiting. If this was a stock, you'd have to revise your numbers and maybe initiate a buy rating on Barry J. Sanders, because Barry's now getting it done not once but twice in a row.
Do we have a running back controversy here? I'm just going to say in the mind of one Stanford parent, we may. Overall, maybe not, but nevertheless, you give the guy the ball and he gives you 65 yards and a touchdown 2 straight weeks.
There's nothing wrong with having an embarrassment of riches, and I still think maybe the development of the year has to be the Ramon Wright assist.
The vulture.
He comes in. I think
he's the vulture.
At one point,
let's call him what he is.
3 carries for 3 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's got 7 touchdowns on 30 carries this season.
Now, of course, we're making fun a little bit. He did come out and I think the minute they brought him in, he ripped off a 9-yard run, and he's a very...
And he had the vulture screen.
He did. So, no, all around, very positive. Points on the board. I have not checked the stats. I don't know if they mentioned it in the post game, but I don't think we've ever gotten over on Arizona quite like this. I mean, there was the year, the Rose Bowl year.
The Rose Bowl team did.
We ran up about a 30-point win, but this was a 38-point win against a team that has come into this, at least this physical location, not this stadium, but it's come into this physical location before and absolutely shut the Stanford Cardinal down. So to get over on Arizona and put up a double 5 is a rarity indeed, and we'll take it.
And, if we can be semi-serious for just a little bit, I think it's time to talk a little bit about Kevin Hogan. In Pac-12 play, he's completing 79% of his passes. So I think it's pretty clear that the fluke or the outlier was the Northwestern game, and those last 3 games we saw at the end of the year and the Pac-12 games we've seen so far this year. I think we're looking at one of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12 at his best as we speak.
Well, the respect level certainly is growing in the conference as he knocks them down one by one, and I expect that to continue. We've got a little time off here, and then we come back on a Thursday night to take on the UCLA Bruins, who showed, maybe a little chink in the armor tonight against ASU. So the conference is shaping up. Is anyone, Troy Clarity was just by here saying, is anyone quite on the same trajectory? Stanford seems to be a rising force in the conference. You've got Utah down in the south looking good, but the Pac-12 South now looking like anybody's ballgame.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think if there's one thing that we can tie together, it's quarterback play. If you look from week to week, who's trending up, who's trending down, it's quarterback. And there hasn't been a team, I think maybe you could argue USC with Cody Kessler, who Stanford has already beaten. But if there's one team in the North who knows exactly what it's getting from its quarterback week after week after week, I think it's got to be Stanford at this point.
Right, and so you look at what's happened just in a few weeks, the change in perspective. I think many were dreading some of the games on our schedule after the Northwestern game, and now you have to look at it as, boy, Stanford's a pretty tough out. It's going to take a formidable performance from almost anybody. That doesn't mean that things can't go wrong. I mean, we managed to go another game, I think, without any turnovers.
Yes.
And that's 2 games in a row
without a turnover. Well, Hogan had an interception against Oregon State.
That's right, he did. Okay, so that's at least 2 games in the last 3 in which neither team had a turnover. So that's really an unusual turn of events as well. Yeah,
glass half empty, half full. At some point, you'd like to see the defense get their hands on some passes or some fumbles, but I think overall the consistency that we're seeing from this offense is such a big deal, and I just think we're looking at a team that has kind of found itself right here and at this point of the season.
All right, so we're going to knock on wood. We're going to be glad that we didn't sustain any major injuries. We saw Joey Alfieri went off to probably go through, concussion protocol or something, was back out, grabbed his helmet, and was in the next play. So apparently he checked out just fine. And, I think the only thing else that got hurt out there was Arizona's pride. Yeah,
I mean, they're hurting. I mean, we know they're depleted, and we know that they can put forth a better game, but what we know right now is that it's not going to be against Stanford, and I think at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. And for 2 weeks in a row also, defensive line has survived.
Well, and Aziz Chatou definitely stepping it up. Brendan Scarlett was playing possessed tonight. Look, there are very few complaints. In fact, probably tomorrow there's not going to be a lot of second guessing from the Sunday and Monday morning quarterbacks about the play calling.
Right.
Masterful game tonight. Perfect balance. Of course, that tends to happen when you're running the ball almost at will.
Who writes those critical articles anyway? Nobody. No organization I know of. That's for sure.
I do know that this team seems really well balanced now, and that's going to make it difficult for anybody trying to game plan. What are you going to shut off? Because the tight ends are out there. We didn't have to use them much tonight, but and you have plays, guys making plays. I mean, Michael Rector's play as he busted outside and just went on a tear down the left sideline there to get in, and that's these are guys that are doing more than what you necessarily expect out of the play. They're giving extra effort. I think that happens when people start making plays. Other guys want to make plays. Yeah, I think this is a team that's just having a lot of fun playing football right now, and it's a lot of fun for us to watch. And it's, as you said, it can't be a lot of fun to look at Stanford on film right now and figure out a way to stop everything. Because like you said, when you're rolling like this, there's always going to be something missing. Tonight, no tight ends. We've seen what the tight ends can do. There's been nights when the wide receivers didn't dominate. But it's a problem of excess, which is a good problem to have. Well, you never want to get overconfident, but when a team as talented as this one has a high confidence level and is now facing some pretty good matchups on the home schedule, it's going to be a fun season. I think a lot of people that had been writing off 2015 are going to have to reassess that a little bit now and say that the ceiling is now pretty high. Well,
the ceiling is what we thought it could be, I think. And, a couple quick points. Number one, week 1 seems a long time away. But by the way, that week 1 opponent is looking more and more formidable as the season goes on.
Northwestern may end up running the table. I mean, they had another shutout today in a game that I think the spread was like 3 points, and they won 27-0 against Minnesota. So Northwestern definitely helping make us look a little less embarrassed by that opening loss.
And of course, Stanford tonight needed no help in looking good. They came away 55-17 victors over the Arizona Wildcats. They get a bye week. Next home game on a Thursday night against the UCLA Bruins, something that UCLA is going to be looking forward to with the way that Stanford's played them in the past. But I think David Shaw said in the press conference, a very welcomed bye week, some welcomed rest, and a great chance to reset and move on for the rest of the year.
And it gives UCLA a lot of time to think about the fact that they definitely have a Stanford problem.
Yeah, absolutely, and hoping that problem continues over the next 10 days.
Excellent.
All right, well, that's going to do it here from Stanford Stadium. I'm RJ Abeytia. This is Jim Rutter here. This has been the Bootleg post-game report, and we will talk to you Thursday, October 16th from this very field after Stanford takes on the UCLA Bruins.
Go Cardinal.